Looks a little bit more professional now. It's been a while since I've actually did it this way. I don't know why. Been doing this for years, but 5 years and counting. However long, I still got a voice. Unless I go out, like the DLC. Knock on wood, that doesn't happen. Still a legend, but as usual, pardon the banks here. Well, when Davis get back, I'm not gonna hold y'all, but whenever he ready, if ever he ready, that's my brother. Of course, his name is attached to it. I could do my own thing, but nah, it's forever. So, like the presentation already early. Also got the small intro. This won't be the intro every week, but I'm gonna hit it right now. Pause.
I just left stupid ass Starbucks, right? And they selling sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich, bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. But they do not serve jelly with their biscuits. Bitch, get out the fucking business. Get out the fucking biscuit business, Starbucks, please. Serve your fucking coffee and your chilates and your whatever.
All right, that was good enough. Oh, my sound is good too. But yeah, new part in the banks. Glad to be here. Hope everybody is good. I'm making sure everything is well. It is, in fact, because sometimes I get insecure when I'm thinking the sound isn't right. That definitely won't be the intro every week, unfortunately. Um, yeah, but it relates to what I'm going to talk about today. Um, it's not a ton going on. I was just on Eyeball. Shouts out to Eyeball with Vin. I was just on there this past Thursday. Yeah, I was on there Thursday right before the draft. We talked about the whole Chris Paul trade. And I'll just say, I'll kind of regurgitate what I've said there. I'll say it here. Um, yeah, it just extends Steph's career. It extends his career, unless he's coming off the bench being Chris Paul, then it'd be whenever the career is supposed to end. But I feel like if you put Chris Paul at the one, you put Steph at the two, and I mean Clay probably ain't gonna come off the bench, but if he decides to come off the bench, then you put Andrew Wiggins at the three, and then Draymond at the four, and Kevon at the five. But we'll see. Not that that's gonna happen, but this is what NBA 2K is for. I will just run Chris Paul. I will run. I'll have Andrew Wiggins come off the bench. I'm not gonna hold y'all. That's what I would do if it was my team. Because I think if you have him come off the bench, he's automatically sixth man of the year. But yeah, I talked about that. I talked about just everything Michael Jordan being the owner. So again, go check that out. Oddball Podcast. Not to put myself over, but in 45 minutes, I did more than what these so-called sports journalists do, which leads me to this. Hey, man, I just got to make that clip of Boosie saying, get out the business. And this won't be monetized now because he cussed, but it's fine. We not up there. Thank you also to the new subscribers, too. We got a couple of new subscribers. I'm going to keep that going on. Whenever Davis gets back, then it's like, yo, it's still going up, brother. It's amazing how this show, even if we take, these hiatuses, or for me, I take accountability for everything in my life. I put the blame on me just getting my head, which happens often, and me, I feel like I was time to quit, and then I just get right back into it, and the subscribers still go up. So to all the subscribers here, thank you. And this hat does not match up with this, so yeah, y'all won't see the hairline, but there you go. I gotta get the shape up. It's been almost 2 weeks. So thank you to all the new subscribers. As usual, usually it's movie talk. Right now, it's not a ton going on. I know next week, unless you saw that Jennifer Lawrence movie, which I'm not gonna watch. I'm not. If you watch rom-coms, that's your only thing. My favorite rom-com of all time is Boomerang. That's my favorite rom-com. Cause that's definitely the rom-com. That might be the GOAT ones. I know there's something about Mary when Harry met Sally or something. I think so, one or the other, but yeah. So this slow week was needed though at the box office, just simply based on everything that's happened in the past month, where it's just like a movie dropping after a movie. We started out this month with Spider-Verse, and then it went into Transformers. So this was much needed break. So, oh yeah, and then Flash. So yeah, past 3 weeks have been crazy. I need to watch Spider-Verse again just because I'm trying to wait, but I got to watch that again. So it's not a lot of movie news. Next week, Indiana Jones comes out. I'll probably watch it, give my review here. But I want to talk about the sports business. Again, like Boosie said, get out the business, but get out the sports business. So this conversation and this episode mainly came up simply based on a Twitter space that happened yesterday. So for those that follow Kevin Durant's main account on Twitter, you know exactly what goes on with him. Every now and then somebody will say something. I think somebody in his team, or he gets heat of it, and then he cuts a shoot promo about it. So it went from that to, all right, that cool. And then it migrated over to a Twitter space happening. So the conversation, in case anybody isn't up on it, some jabroni, no disrespect, I just call it jabroni because I can't remember the name, said Kevin Durant is not a top 5 player in the NBA today, which is asinine. He's been a top 5 player in the league, I want to say, since 2009 by a long shot. And it's not to say it's, I mean, yeah, it's by the, I won't even say by default. It's just, that's what it is. Now, be it, I'm going to be a little bit biased just because I'm a Kevin Durant mark. Kevin Durant is one of my favorite players of all time. But so the biasy, I know people say he's a cornball. One of my good friends call him a cornball. We know the antics he does. And again, I'll get to that point with him, and I'm not here to play the psychological thinking of why Kevin Durant responds to these people, because me personally, at times I'm very insecure. I'm insecure about this episode before it even comes out. When it comes, like, I've never listened to anything I've done other than when me and Davis had our brothers on here from Black Announce Table. We had them on for the Jinder Mahal episode in January of 2021. That might be the only thing I've done. I've gone back and listened. That was 2 years ago. I don't listen to a single thing I've done. Like, if I have to edit something, obviously I have to hear it. And I hate hearing myself. I hate even hearing myself talk because I'm very mute outside of when somebody starts a conversation with me or when I record. But I hate talking. Like, people that know me personally, my own family, they know me. When they see me, dude, I don't talk much. Like, I talk, but then I don't talk that much. Because like, I have to save it for this too. And I save my thoughts. So that's the thing about journalism. I think if you ask any established journalism, because contrary to belief, podcasting is journalism, even though people misuse it, you know, just to get off their opinions. It's journalistic based. Everything that you're talking about needs to be based on a current event, a future event, or a past event, not just some opinion that you just came out of your, I'm trying not to cuss, but with. It's because I want to challenge myself to not cuss so much, and it's been working. So with this guy, I don't know who he is. He might be an established writer. I didn't care to look, but Kevin Durant responded to him, and it went from there. It wasn't even like a big deal to me in my eyes, because a lot of people just like, they just argue because, you know, it's always a list. You know, these lists get people in an uproar. Somebody could just, if I made a list today of the greatest podcasts of all time, people would be insane. And who knows me other than the people that know me? That's the bar right now. Who knows me more than the people that know? But you get people that come up with these lists and people get irate. It's a list that they made up. It's not, what's the best way? It's not like the Ring magazine list. It isn't, you know, a list that's been here since the 50s. And then even if it was, so why does it matter? So Kevin Durant is listed as one of the top 75 players of all time, which is in fact true. That's another reason why I wouldn't respond. Like, dude, they just don't give those out. Dwight Howard missed that list, and he got, you know, they buried him, even though he shouldn't have got on the list before a player I personally like, that I'll talk about later on. So you had him getting bumped off the list. So obviously, if you make the top 75 list, you're known to somebody or somebody's. And of course, the press favors whoever they want, but at the same time, the stats are there. All right. 2 championships, 2 finals MVP, worth over millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. Shearer and future Hall of Famer, top 75 player once again. Probably the greatest scorer of all time. And I go back and forth with that because Jordan is there. Kobe is there. I mean, you got to look at LeBron too, just because he's all time. And see, this is when people start to argue me when I actually watch basketball, because shouts out to Hoops and Brews, watch more basketball. They coined that term years ago. And people fail to do that in this business of podcasting because the guy is from a podcasting, which tells you he don't know a lot. I'll be disrespectful in that sense because people that do podcasts don't know anything. 95% of podcasters are horrible. I'm here to stand on that, and I've said it before. All right, 95% of podcasters are horrible. It's no journalistic integrity involved. Nobody cares to really work. They just do this with their buddies all day, and it's like, did you actually do your research on that? Or taking Twitter topics. It's like that's where we are with sports journalism as a whole. With other podcasts, it's like, all right, if you're talking about music or current events, it's like, all right, people are going to hear that from Joe Budden or other podcasts, but that's fine. You can do that because you have your own spin. But with sports journalism, that's migrating to podcasts because podcasts is now the new TV shows. People don't know anything. I really feel like, and I've said this before, people really tend to just go off of what they know from NBA 2K. Like, I swear everybody's getting their knowledge from NBA 2K. Nobody's actually watching the games anymore, or they go by analytics. And that goes to what that guy talked about. So he was in the Twitter space, and I listen, and I hate listening to Twitter spaces unless it's something really interesting. I'll just listen. So I'm in there. A couple, Brother Earl is in there if he's listening to. Shouts out to Earl Gesson from the Stands podcast. That was probably it. People that I know of. Oh, P.OK was in there. Obviously, I don't know Lloyd Banks, the great one of my favorite rappers ever, but he was in there. 16,000 people were in there because Kevin Durant is in the space, and it says KD is not the top 5. And again, so he goes in there, and when I got there, I don't know, maybe it's like 5 minutes after it started or so, he was in there, and he was basically rebuttaling everything that the guy said. And it's like, dude, but the guy kept, and this is why I'm saying, this is why I hate Twitter spaces, and this is why I'm saying 95% of podcasters are horrible, because the dude got on there. I don't even know when the episode came out. It doesn't matter if it came out 2 years ago. He got on there, he said the same thing that was said on his podcast verbatim. Then Kevin Durant got in there, said the same thing 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. But then the gems in it was, which is true, people, I don't even like having conversations about basketball because it gets, what's the best way I could say this? In my eyes, I'll say minute. It gets minute, like far as, I can't spell that, but minute. People just regurgitating the same things because it's all opinion based. Like, again, when the guy started talking about he doesn't even get to the rim anymore, it's like, dude, pause. It's like, dude, Kevin Durant knows his game. And he said, yeah, I did. Against the Nuggets, I did it more than anybody else. Which doing that, and then you got a 7 foot, 300-pound center, finals MVP right there. And even though Kevin Durant is 7 foot on his own merits, it's like, dude, pause. It's like, dude, driving towards the rim is the best thing you can do, because if you just sit out there and try to do a jump shot, they're going to get offensive rebounds on you just because they're a bigger team. All right. And Aiden was getting just pumped. Poor choice of words when I say pumped, just because, even though that means a lot. Let me make sure that's him too, because I'm on camera and I want to be professional in this sense. I can't mess up names today. No, sir. Yeah, hey. So I want to make sure. Just because when I recorded something before, somebody said, I swear I said Ezra Miller. Even if I did, I don't care. I don't care about that jabroni's name. Look at everything he's done. And I can't say him, but still. So Shorty got heat with me because I said Ezra Miller. If you listen to this, I apologize, beloved, but I'm going to mess up names. That's just what I do. That's my Achilles heel. I'm really good at this. No ego. I'm really good at this. But I mess up names. So I'm sorry. So with me, and it relates to that. So my opinion is based on you can't tell somebody that's great at something opinion, and that's what Kevin Durant tweeted. Just because he's the millennial mindset of I'm tweeting this because I'm upset or I'm saying stuff. We know about the burner accounts and all that. People call them corny. Hey man, it's all perspective. If that's the way he has to carry himself, I feel as if that's the way he has to do it. That's fine. Every great person has some type of Achilles heel. Some into weird stuff, which do your thing. Some people are just insecure. I'll say this. I just said I was great. At times I don't feel like it. Far as my work goes. None of that other stuff. Outside in life, none of that. It's just the work. Like again, as I'm recording this, I will never listen to it again. And that's just how I work. I don't listen to anything that I do because I'm always this way as well. I'm always that way when it relates to work. And then I don't like looking at myself. All right. I could just pan to the A camera because that's all I have in order to talk about exactly what's going on. I want to get this frame in order. But yeah, I definitely got to get some better equipment. Soon come. Unless y'all pay for it. Then the cash up. So again, going back to that, it just feels as if journalists are attacking you more so because maybe they just dislike you. And that's always been the case. It's always been that case. Shaq didn't win anonymous MVP because of one person, and that's probably because of personal hate because they find a reason. In sports media, your name holds, especially if you have a lot of subscribers. I don't even know if that guy has a lot of subscribers. I think the thing is with people, all right, people don't even use YouTube shorts. They rather just put their stuff on Twitter like this 2015 just to get a buzz. Because again, podcasters have no idea how to market. They don't know how to cut a promo. They can't draw any money. Again, 95% of podcast. I'm here to tell you, as somebody that's been doing this for 5+ years, 95% of podcasters are horrible. And I'm sorry, that's what it is. And I hate to sound like that. I should be more humble, but because my resume is great, I produce for great podcasts. I'm on great podcasts. You don't need to I don't even need to say the names. You know exactly, if you know me, what I do. And then if not, there goes that. So you might have not heard me, but my resume is very good. Might be underground, but it's still a win. So I'm trying not to say that, but it just seems to be, and I don't want to bully podcasting like I've always done in the past year or two. But it just seems to be, so I'll just talk about journalism as a whole. Journalist integrity is just low. The morality is low. Like Malika Andrews, it's like, all right, I won't talk too much about her just because it's right there and then I know how I can talk. But it's just like you have this connotation of every black man that gets in trouble. Dude, we don't cause the most problems in this country or world. It seems to be that way. Seems to be we always the problem when we step aside. Black men are always attacked for something. It's always this. He made a mistake, just like anybody with color. Some people that don't have the same color as us cause the most problems. But she does that. It just seems to be a personal vendetta when it comes to media, particularly sports media. It's like, yo, I thought it was about the game. And that's what Kevin Durant was saying. More so, it's about the game. But people nowadays, they want to base it on analytics, number one, or sports like not even trailers, just clips. That's where we are. Like, people don't watch real games. I swear people don't watch real games. They play NBA 2K, they watch clips on YouTube, and they do analytics and they base it on that. And then also it's a microwave society. What you do right now, again, that's why I don't focus on my work too. Because more so people are just based you on right now and not forever. All right, not to put myself over. Every single thing I'm doing, podcasting, not podcasting, it's gonna last forever, bro. Only, only God could judge. But that's where it is. Like, the dude is a top 75 player at 34 years old, but you're calling him top 5, and he said it right. Like, why does lists matter? And I feel the same exact way. Why does lists matter? Me personally, it's like, dude, if they ever do top podcaster lists, 100. If I'm not 100, and if I'm not 100, I don't care. If they don't even put me at 100, I don't care, because it's based on your perception of somebody's work. And I asked a young man, if he ever hear this, and there's no disrespect to you, where is your work at? So it's have to show your work. They say it all the time, show your work. All right, so they show their work. Even though it's a title based on the podcast, it's true. Show your work. Where is this young man's work at? To question somebody that's done it. It's the same thing with Dwight Howard, and people try to argue. That's what I'm saying. We just live in a weird society as a whole, but definitely with sports, where people ask, was Dwight Howard a Hall of Famer? Yo, your damn mind. It's right there. And he's living up in Taiwan. You know, he having hella fun in Taiwan. I don't know nothing about Taiwan, but it looked fun. But it's I don't know. I wish people would just do more homework on anything that they love. Do more homework on it. It's now like we just live in a societary-based system where people that just watch basketball as a whole, they treat it like 2K, which is in line with this. All right. I'll get to where I stand with this. Hopefully I won't take too long talking about it, but I will say he brought it upon himself. I will say that accountability is everything. So with Dame, he's bringing it upon himself. Yesterday, as of this recording, he got on live and he played Miami by Will Smith, which I love Will's music, love his catalog of movies. I'm a fan of his. I've said on different recordings, I've met him personally. Real nice dude. He's been nice to people I know that have worked with him before. So I don't have anything bad to say about him. Like when the jokes were coming out and it was like a sort of witch hunt for him last year, I was like, all right, I stayed out of it. I tried to defend the dude as much as possible because he seemed like a good dude. But you playing Miami, Dame, is going to lead to speculation. Now let's talk about this real quick. Let's say he goes to Miami. Anybody's listening that loves that BS analytics, go ahead, listen to that. Take that for data. With him being on Miami, all right, they give up a Tyler Hero, which, you know, they talk about Chris Paul being a ski mask individual as far as taking money from a franchise. No, Tyler Hero is. He got a little, you know how the white boys do it. They have a little good season, good run, and then it's like, all right, let's pay him out. And then they just get hurt. Gordon Hayward is the same way, be it that he had a catastrophic injury as far as his legs. So I don't want to make too much fun of that. The first game of the 2016 season, I believe it was 2016 season, it had to be, definitely was. See, I know my stuff because I watch basketball and I got a long memory. So with Tyler Hero, it's just like the past 2 years he got that contract, or since when he got it, when they were in the bubble. And again, people talk about the Lakers championship not matter. It's a championship, dude. It was a lot. It's always something. It's what it could have, would have. I'm gonna talk about the marks again because I think basketball, wrestling has their marks, but they easy to avoid. Basketball has the worst marks in sports history. They don't know anything about the sport. These marks just don't watch it, dude. So I'll bash them right. I'll bury them right now. So when you win a championship, you won it. It don't matter. The Spurs won one during the lockout season. Nobody really said anything about it. They kind of do, but it's always semantics. Like, what if this person didn't get hurt? What if this scenario played out? What if they would have played this team? If shoulda, coulda, woulda was a money currency, we'd all be millionaires. I'd probably be a billionaire by now. All right. So it's not based on what your perception is a championship. A win is a win again. To quote the great Dom Toretto. So when people have these semantics about the bubble champ, dude, they won. They beat a Nuggets team that smoked them this past finals. Who else they played? I'm trying to go back. I said I got a long memory, but I'm trying to go back to that. That was 3 years ago too, almost 4. Time is going by. So was it semantics in 2001, or I'm sorry, 2021, when the Bucks beat the Suns? Last year, Golden State beat the Celtics. It can't be they tried to play it. Oh, well, they went against a Heat team that played a play-in, being the Nuggets. Dude, who fault is that? You win. If you could play, you can win. So that bubble championship stuff, just stop. Mickey Mouse, stop, bro. It's 4 titles. Stop it. So going back to with Dame, all right, you get rid of Tyler Hero. They might have to give up Duncan Robinson, which you shouldn't because he shows up more than Tyler Hero. And maybe I'm racist because I used to get them confused all the time. But then Tyler Hero started wanting to be Post Malone, and I didn't get that confused. Started wearing ice and all that. Started dating the IG models, and that's why his career really went down. But that's neither here nor there. So if they give up whatever they give up, and knowing how the Heat organization and the Godfather Pat Riley, they won't give up much to get Dame. That works out. But they get to the finals again, I don't know. Let's see how the Bucks play. And I like the coach that they have now, who used to be assistant for think Golden State. I'm messing up right now. I said all this other stuff. See, this is why you got to speak before you talk. But still, I just talked about it too last week, I believe, with Ant. But still, you still got to get the pieces. And now Chris Middleton is also an unrestricted free agent, so he want to get paid. And he opted out, I want to say 3 days ago, as of this recording. And they haven't paid him yet. It's like, yeah. And then the Draymond situation as well. I mean, free agency hasn't started yet, but still, you can do trades right now, but free agency hasn't opened up. I think it opens up July 2nd July 2nd, somewhere around that. First something. So I think immediately you sign in whenever free agency opens up. It's always around that time because I just remember the big players try to get it out the way before the 4th of July. So it's somewhere around that free agency opens up. So obviously with Chris, you don't want him to leave. That's your second, third best player, probably second best player on the team when he's healthy, being the Bucks, and he's a key component to that championship team. But if he does leave, well, somebody could pick him up. And he'll be a great asset to the team. So with Dame, if he goes to the Heat, all right, they do well. But him playing Miami in the background, again, out of all the Will Smith songs, it's like, all right, bro. And then his agent just said, no, it wasn't subliminal. No, that's a sub. Like, come on. Because who just plays Miami? Like, think about this. Who just plays Miami by Will Smith? You ever been somewhere like, hey, this Future I ain't hitting. That new Doug album was fired too. I might talk about that briefly. Maybe. I don't really do music talk. I just listen to it and keep it pushing. I can do it, but I don't do it. But who just, like, you go to the club and you just, it doesn't even matter if you in Miami. You gonna go to the club and ask for Miami? That's your whole thing. Welcome to the party where the heat is on and the nights to the break of dawn. I'm going to Miami. That's what you gonna do? You gonna ask for that in 2023? You're not gonna do that. So for him to have that in the background, it looked like he was in the dark too. So he probably was at his crib just playing that. Like, nah, come on. Stop with the subs. But it seems to be at this point, I mean, obviously he's a wrestling fan. It seems to me he's just working people. It might be a deal in place already. Because why? Because it's been every single day. It's been rumors coming out. Oh, he's about to make his decision next week when I think free agency actually opens up. Second to last week of June. Or I think next week is the last week of June. Yeah, next week is the last week of June, technically, kind of. So maybe he's just doing that to stir the pot. And then the Miami deal is probably already in play. Probably already in play. And I said I wasn't going to take that long talking about the subject, but I definitely will. It's knowing Pat Riley, a deal probably is in play. Like, man, you need to come over here because it is. Great team, by the way, if he goes over there. With the pieces that they have now, don't give up too much. Maybe, who is their power forward? Maybe give them. I'm trying to think of their power forward that they have because they have Bam at the 5. Why am I blanking out? Either way, get Dame, get a power forward. I think they make it work because they made it to the finals. And Dame, because they needed a closer, they needed a scorer, and they need somebody to get them 20 more points because Jimmy was tired. There you go. Somebody that can get you 30 or more. We've seen them have 50, 60-point games. in the playoffs. So that definitely helps the team. My thing is with me at this point, all the PR stuff. Maybe it's just a smoke screen again, and the deal is already done. All this every day, and then you see the comments and you see the marks being upset about it. I think if you have already made a deal, you don't need to do this, but it does help work everybody. Get them, work them into a shoot, so to speak, brother. Where it's just like, hey, I already did the deal, but I'm gonna have y'all talking about something. Because that's all it is. Every NBA free agency is always just conversations to be had, rumors every time. I mean, the Chris Paul thing, nobody saw that coming. Apparently, Steph doesn't like Chris Paul, but now they gotta like each other, which is fine because he brings a sort of him and Draymond on that team, because Draymond more likely is gonna resign now. They definitely need him now. They bring a sort of XPW feel, as far as like hitting each other or hitting people below the waist with baseball bats or their feet. You feel me? So you gotta learn how to take a bump. But more so now, it's the sense of what else do you do? How do you make this work? So, sorry, I lost my train of thought. With the team at this point, you gotta you getting older, team is getting younger. It's like figure it out type situation. If he goes, he goes. My thing to bring my thoughts back is, again, the subliminals I don't like. Just say it. Just say that you don't want to be here. And that's the most you could just ask for a player his caliber, just to be like, man, just say it. But maybe he stays. Maybe he doesn't run from the grind. And maybe he starts seeing the draft and it's like, all right, cool. I just don't plan on being here anymore. Maybe he just start realizing that right now. So that's it. That's all I can really say. We'll see how it plays out. And I hate to be that we'll see how it plays out person, but we'll see how it plays out, because who knows what happened. Otherwise than that, what else we got? What else is going on? Oh, it's not too much NBA talk. I will say this. Maybe this is why, and it just brought me to a thought of, maybe this is why people love NFL more, or Middle America more, because you don't get all this. Like the most that's going on in the NFL is DeAndre Hopkins just not getting picked up by a team. I know people probably looked at it just because of his last season and him being 31. He had a meeting with the Patriots. He had a meeting with one more team. I can't think of them. But him not getting picked up is kind of criminal. But in the NFL, so Dame is 32. And the NFL being 31 is like a crime. Like Dak just talked about Zeke being in shape. Like, oh, he's in shape. Everything's good to go. I'm sorry, everybody. All that small lunch. Right. People just love distracting me when I'm recording. Sorry about that. So with a 31-year-old player, hell, you could be 28. If you're 28 running back, 28-year-old running back in the NFL, you're basically done. Unless you like AP or Frank Gore or somebody like that. Then it's like, all right, continue to go. With it just in the NFL, when you get to a certain age, you just you're done. And it's like, damn, that's not fair. You could have just waited. But DeAndre, I don't know. Maybe it's something else. But in the NBA, if you can produce it, you'll get signed to a team even if you're 38 years old. Again, Dame is about to be 33, I believe, in a couple of weeks. People still trying to get him. It's a Paul George. Actually, it's a Paul George rumor going around. They keep saying, hey, if y'all want him, have a good deal in place. I think he benefits well for the Heat. I wouldn't trade a Tyler Hero for him, because Tyler Hero being in LA now, you ain't gonna get no games out of him. He gonna be too busy being like all the other white boys in LA. Culture vulture. Is that fair to say? It is right now. But Paul George being on, they said the Bucks too. Him being on the Bucks would be nice. I think any team outside this Clippers team, and that's something I could talk about if it does get to that phase. I had a conversation about. But otherwise than that, I'll get to final topic. AEW Forbidden Door. By the time this comes out, it'll already happen. So I won't talk too much. I won't do, to break down the roster, even though it's a pretty good roster. I will say this about 3 matches. I'll talk about that Jungle Boy match and him going for the IWGP title. It's like, yeah, I like Jungle Boy, but y'all couldn't get nobody else. And that's what people really want to say. Like, y'all couldn't get nobody else, because Tony Khan had the meeting about it. Because when it happened and they announced it this past Dynamite, it was just like, all right. Like, nobody else can do this. Like, dude, seriously, that's all it came down to. Like, Jon Moxley ain't free. Like, y'all couldn't get nobody else. Jon Moxley isn't free. Yeah, I'm just thinking about names at this point. Obviously, he's AEW, but I was like, Jon Moxley was the first name I thought about. That would have been a great match. Maybe this is his break time. But I don't even know. Maybe that leads to him finally getting on the main show. Who knows? Sorry about that. Technical difficulty really quick. So with him being Jack Perry, Jungle Boy, having that match, it leads to, does this give him a chance to actually, be in the title hunt soon? Like, does it actually lead him to get into the title hunt? Is my main thing. I want to know that. Just because it's like, all right, you're putting him in this match, and what else do you do after that? Does it just lead to him like, oh, he could be a main card player? And that's all I'm thinking about. I'm thinking if you put him in that, he's obviously one of the 4 pillars, or as they say, one of the 4 pillars. Will it lead him to eventually getting, a title shot, which we could hope for? Because it's due at this point, Eventually he will get it. So that's it with that match. I mean, I'll watch it. I'm watching this whole entire pay-per-view, even the pre-show. I'm tapped in, my phone to be off. The MJF match. The MJF match, I think, is another. Let's see what you can do. Be it that both these guys are under 28 years old. So this is a way for you to go against vets. Obviously, with MJF, he going against a vet. This gives you a chance to really show, like, are you that guy? Can you? Because that's the thing with MJF. He can cut a promo. In the past 3 weeks, he's had some of his best promos ever. He hasn't cursed a lot. He hasn't called people, slurs. He hasn't said, well, except for that old tweet that came out calling people niggas. But besides the point, I expected that for somebody, from Long Island. White dude from Long Island. I expected that. But his promo's been good, bar none, the past 3 weeks. Does it, the wrestling is always the biggest factor. People always question the wrestling. Like, how good is he? I mean, I don't expect him to be Dean Malenko, but he's been pretty good. And he's gradually improving. The kid is only 26. He'll gradually get better. So the ring stuff you could work on. And then especially if he keeps saying 2024, you're going to the E, which seems to be the case more than ever. And then I'll get to that. So I said 3 matches, I lied. There's 4 matches I want to talk about the significance of it. With MJF at this young age going against a vet, how does that, lead to him long term? I think even if he stays with AEW the rest of his career, which I wouldn't do because it might not be AEW the next couple of years, you have someone that you work with that was a vet who's a legend in Japan to now being, 26 or whatever age, and you take that forever for the rest of your career. Like, he just had a match with Adam Cole, which was Adam Cole's best match in years. he can forever hold that. And he said he's been a mark for Adam Cole, and Adam Cole is great. And I studied you on ROH. Now he had a match against him. Same thing with this. So obviously it adds onto his resume, especially if he goes up north. If he goes to New York and goes with the E. So this match is just for him, just to show that he could really work. I mean, obviously he had that Iron Man match with Daniel Bryan. That was pretty good. That was great, actually. So this is another stepping stone, no matter if he stays with the company or not. Going with Kenny Omega and Will Ocean Spray, as they say at BRP, I'll just say that. I'll say this. I'll say this. So the whole elite situation, it's just, the old man is there, and I'll just remember that. As of this recording, which is Saturday, I got to remember Collision comes on. I don't even know what happened on Rampage, but Collision comes on tonight. I had to remember that. So I was like, all I'm going to do is watch baseball today in WNBA. I forgot Collision came on. So there's that. So I got something to do. Thank you, Tony Khan, for that, because, boy, I've been bored. I can't wait to get a Steam Deck. All I do is work. I can't wait to get a Steam Deck so I can stop watching less sports. I have to force myself to watch something to be entertained. Steam Deck soon come, manifested, speak into existence. But no, so the first match, I got to go back and watch that before tomorrow when the pay-per-view is. It'll be yesterday when the pay-per-view happened, when this recording comes out. It's getting to me, and this is something I want to say to people. It's getting to the point of, it's time to go. It's the same thing with Dane, win the photo. I titled it that for a reason, because it's cool to just leave where you always known. You got to travel. This is coming from somebody that moved out of LA and went to Florida, of all places. And that pretty much helped my life go this way, as far as my career. I probably put myself 3 years into the future, because everything you do work-wise puts you closer to your future. So I understand leaving. I'll say this about Kenny Omega and the Elites or Kenny Omega and the Bucks of Youth. The old man is there. He's causing a problem. But now it's getting to a point, and their contracts are up this month. I don't know if they extended it. I don't think so. I would have heard something, but their contracts are up this month, and there's no negotiations. I mean, it's time to go. Because when you're going to stay somewhere, it's like, all right, cool, I'm here to stay. They haven't said anything. If I've been them, I've been trying to get in contact with Hunter, being Triple H. Let me just see what y'all talking about. Because originally, 4 years ago, when AEW first started out, they had a deal in place that was supposed to pay them $1 million a year each. And go straight to the main card. At that point, it would be like, all right, cool. It would have been all right. But I think now is the perfect time. Reason being is they need somebody over there. Eventually, Roman Reigns is going to come off them titles. Eventually, Seth Rollins might get stale. It's getting to that point now. Maybe that's why he's transitioned to the movies, because nobody really going against him. I mean, he's going against everybody. He had a great match with Braun Breaker on NXT. But it's getting to a point where it's just like, all right, how long can you be just the fighting champion? But Roman Reigns over here barely showing up, and people are over for these promos. So if I'm Kenny Omega, I'm thinking about heading up north, because that's the big time. That's where I need to be. I think as soon as he goes over there, I think as soon as him and the Bucks of Youth go over there, dude, they over by default, just because of the name alone. Sorry, write notes down. That's what you're supposed to do as a journalist. So if they go over there, I think they're over big time already. Like I've heard on podcasts, they said they should go to the PC. Go to the PC, bro. That's for development. These dudes are Hall of Famer. They underground, but they Hall of Famers. So I think it's just time, because you having a match against Will Ocean Spray for the second time. First one is probably match of the year thus far. What do you do? It gets to a point, and that's how I am in my life. Like, if it's no challenge, what are we doing? As a man, you need some type of challenge. It's like, what are you doing? There's nothing else for you to do. The old man causing drama. You can't, unless you want to be at AEW with your friends and keep doing the same thing over and over, getting a paycheck. That's fine, but y'all underground legends. You'll stay underground legends, and there's gonna be a what if I would have went. Like Sting went. Obviously, he was about 50 at that point, but he still went. You don't want to be 50 going over there, especially with all the injuries being Kenny Omega. And the Bucks, you don't want to have what if. I think if you go over there now, you can get it shaken with Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, because it's not that many tags. You immediately put yourself in a tag situation. Kenny Omega immediately puts himself in the E title or the world title situation. And then go get the big bucks. That's how you make the big money. Like at this point now, 40, about to be 40 years old. If not 40 years old, you got to think about the money situation. I think you go to the E now. It's nothing left to do. Unless y'all just want to be over there, just being over there, cool. But I think it's time to go now. And it's almost the end of June, and they haven't said anything about their contracts. I'll look it up, but I don't think they said anything. Last match with some significance. Last but not least, which is probably going to be match of the year. Even though they said Daniel Bryan got them injuries, it ain't going to stop him. This definitely going to be match of the year. This match, it's not a lot of significance to it. It's not a ton of it. I will say this match holds weight, besides being a dream match, how it relates to, Okada in America. Obviously, legend, but more so overseas legend. So what you do over here doesn't matter unless you're a wrestling mark like me or others. For me to say that, it's to say he should go over because Daniel Bryan has nothing to prove. Him beating Okada, just like, yo, I beat Okada, which is fine because you beat a legend. There's two legends going against each other, but you beat a legend in Japan, whereas you're a legend around the world. You was in the E. You're a Hall of Famer in the E. You're a ROH Hall of Famer. You're a Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer. That's 3 Hall of Fames. You feel me? Which we don't get that much, if ever. So him going over on Okada, it's just like, all right, he goes over. But I think Daniel should job to Okada. He should do the business and job to him. Just because it'd mean a little bit more. Okada's still young. Okada is 34, 35 years old. And he could say, I beat one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, even though I'm one of the greatest of all time. So it's not a huge significance. I think the biggest thing we could say is enjoy it because it's been said the past couple of years, but you could tell more than ever just because he doesn't work that much. Yeah, Daniel is starting to. And then I think he even said he only got like a year or two left in him. All them injuries and stuff like that, yeah. So enjoy this match. Even if he gives you 80%, that's good enough. 50% hell, that's good enough. Okada needs his cook. He beat up too. That's Japan workers as a whole. So let's just enjoy this match. But yeah, I definitely just brought up the Kenny Omega thing because I'm thinking about it now in hindsight, and I've been thinking about it. I thought about it this past week. It's just time to go. Otherwise than that, man, I can't wait to. I might give a review about it next week when I'm back, but I definitely want to talk about it in that sense. But that's it. That's all I really got. All I can really ask everybody is please, man, do your homework when you're talking about something. Just do your homework. That's it. If you're going to talk about something, if you're going to cut a promo, do your homework. On that note, as always, this is a new part of the B.anks. Available here on YouTube. It'll go back on streaming platforms soon. Follow me at the Man Called B.anks on IG. Man Called B.anks on Twitter. You can see it below. Davis DC Colton, if you want to follow my tag partner who will be back here sooner than later, hopefully. If not, I'm going to hold it down for this pod, brother. You already know. As usual, you can catch me Random Acts of Podcast, patreon.com/RAO Podcast, Black Announce Table, patreon.com/Black Announce Table. Do I got some music to send us out? I don't, but I'll play this clip again. Appreciate y'all. Tap in.
I just left stupid ass Starbucks, right? And they selling sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich, bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. But they do not serve jelly with their biscuits. Bitch, get out the fucking business. Get out the fucking biscuit business, Starbucks, please. Serve your fucking coffee and your chilates and your whatever the fuck you serve. And get out the motherfucking biscuit game.